Welcome to Real Estate Grad School. We coach experienced real estate agents to create and build the habits and systems that rapidly increase your income, build your team, and allow you a much greater peace of mind. I'm Rich Levin. I've been coaching experienced real estate agents for over 20 years to exceptional success. Come and learn. Today, you will learn a simple but very rare practice that solves all of those issues. I wonder if it's time, because interest rates are tied for a 23-year high at 7.37%. They were also at 7.37% back in October of 2022, just like a year and a half ago. But before that, they hadn't been at 7.37% until all the way back to the year 2000, December of 2000, 23 years ago, 22 and a half years ago. And that was on their way back up, having come down to 6%, which 6 to 8% has been a very common interest rate for many years. But the last 23, we've had a very good time with low interest rates. So don't be surprised if we actually see 8. But in addition to that, based on agents' feedback, based on agents all over the country talking to me, more buyers are quitting deals or quitting searching for a home when they find out what their payments will be. And this wastes a lot of agents' time and is emotionally just flat out draining. Is it time to begin preparing buyers for what their payments will be and for what their closing costs will be? I did this with every buyer, but it is a rare practice. Now, I've been coaching top real estate agents for a long time, over a decade, over 2 decades. So it was an uncommon practice even back when I did it, but I did this with every buyer, but it's a rare practice. Preparing the buyer. See, never. Buyers that I work with would often comment that I did things they had never had an agent do before. People who had bought 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 houses in different places around the country had never seen an agent do this before. The buyers I worked with, I'll call them my buyers, bought quickly. One of the first 5 or so houses I showed them. Most agents couldn't believe that until I showed them that it was true. They talked to my buyers, or I explained to them what I did. My sales never fell apart unless there was a job loss. People didn't quit the process. I quit some buyers sometimes because they were just too damn difficult, but sales never fell apart. I never took a buyer to see a house until I had reviewed their payments and closing costs, among other things, and I'm going to go over that with you today. I do not expect you to do what I did, but if you can do even some part of it, get started, it's going to solve your frustration a tremendous amount. But it's true, I never took a buyer to see a house until I had reviewed their payments and their closing costs. Also, another never. I never showed a buyer houses unless I met with them to talk with them about what they wanted and where they wanted it. Now, you can tell me that buyers in your city, in your state, in your market today will never do that. They'll never sit down. Well, I have agents I coach doing that with their buyers, so I know you're not correct. And agents were saying the same thing back to me that back then. I know you're not correct. When you're a salesperson, you may not have very good sales skills, but you're still a salesperson. Some of you do. I'm just saying some of you may not. And you need to sell the appointment. I would tell people, would it be helpful to understand the whole process of buying, what inspections you're going to need, what to do if you find something wrong with the house, how you don't have to be committed to the house? Would it be helpful to find out all the things about buying, just for take a few minutes to learn all that together before we get started? or other things I'd say to buyers, but most buyers, never mind my referrals, I got so many buyers referred to me. I remember sitting down with this one buyer, his name's Steve, and he was referred to me by, oh man, who was the guy who referred him? Can't remember his name. I played tennis with him, funny. Anyway, Steve started laughing, and his wife started laughing when I was about a minute or two or three into my buyer appointment with them. I said, hey guys, I didn't say anything funny, what's up? They said, Rich, the person who referred you told me exactly he even told me what you were gonna say, and you're saying what he said. I said, gosh, I feel like I've just been caught like in high school when I dated a girl and she said, I hate you. You've used the same line on these other girls because we talk about you. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And they said, no, Rich, it's, in this context, it works because I'm doing things the same way, and preparing people is a good thing. So I never took people to see houses unless I'd spoken to them about what they wanted and where they wanted it. And at that initial meeting where we talked about payments, we talked about closing costs, we talked about mortgages, I assured them they knew what their payments would be. They knew what the interest rates were. They knew what their closing costs were going to be. I ensured, at least by their word, that they would have the money. I got them to the bank to be pre-approved. We did those things face to face, and they loved it. And often I'd be with the people for an hour because they'd ask so many questions. They were so curious. And they refer me to so many friends. At that initial meeting, I would review the entire buying process. Now, I'm wondering if it's time to do a better job preparing your buyers for the experience. Okay? I'm wondering if it's time to prepare your buyers for the experience. It will save you tremendous time and frustration. Now, I'm going to show you something I didn't use. I prepared this for a RE/MAX company one time. They paid me very well, and I trained their agents on it. This is a flow chart. This is a flow chart for listings. I never did one for them for buyers. But this is a flow chart, and it starts up here, make a listing presentation, and it goes right through every step of the process, who's involved, what happens. You don't have to do something fancy like this, but the agents would use this in their listing presentations. And we actually did one for buyers. I can't find a copy of it. I don't think I ever kept a copy of it, unfortunately. And that company is long gone. But starting with the time you meet with them, you want to absolutely prepare them for every step of the process. But honestly, I never used a flow chart. I would just describe to them that we start looking. Now, I never used a flow chart, but we'd start looking at homes that have the things. Okay, I say this to the buyers. We'll start out, once we're done here, looking at homes that have the things you want in the areas you want, just like we talked about. We'll search for them. We'll do it together right now online so you can see. You'll select some of the homes yourself. And then I know exactly what to keep my eyes out for, what to send letters, what to hunt for you. And then when we go through a home, if you don't like it at all, even if at the curb you hate it, just tell me. I'll knock on people's door or call the agent, apologize. We don't have to go in at all. I would protect my buyers. Or I'd say, if you don't mind, let's run in and run out just because it's a little easier. But if you don't want to see it at all, we don't have to waste your time. And then let me know what you like about a house, even if it's the only thing you like, so that I can be finding you as much of what you want as possible. So show me the things, tell me the things you like so I can always be finding the best thing for you. Now, if and when you like a house, particularly if the other agent or the owner's there, wait until we're outside and let me know that you may want to consider making an offer. Just so we don't really tip our hand and let the other people who are going to be negotiating with know how much you like it. By the way, that gives them permission to tell me how much they like it. I'm building their confidence. Once you find the one, okay, something you think you might be interested in, then we write a purchase offer. And Then I'd review a purchase offer I'd show them exactly what we use, whatever you use in your area when they like us, whatever simple or complicated document, and I'd scratch on it so the copy I gave them wasn't like a clean copy. I'd circle the areas that were most important, the price, the type of financing, the possession date. I'd mark it up and I'd give them a copy. And I'd say, I don't want you the first time you see this to be when you're making a $400,000 decision or whatever price range they're looking at. I describe the negotiating process. We'd write the offer together. I'd take that to the other agent, or in today's world, I'd send it to the other agent, and I'd describe the whole negotiating process, what kind of delays, what the timeframes would be. I describe the inspections and approving them. I'm going to run a little over today for time. I describe inspections and approving the inspections. What happens if they don't approve them, and can they get out of the transaction? I'd answer all their questions. And any other difficulties that may arrive, low appraisals, whatever it is. I tell them, I'm here for you, not for the other party, just for you, to make sure you get exactly the house you want at the best price possible, and that it's as easy and enjoyable as possible for you. I hope that's the experience you have with me. I describe how available I was and how often I'd be in touch, right up until the day they close. I created a form for you who are coaching clients. This is a 2-page form called Excellence in Service for Buyers form that I used with, people said, Rich, where'd you get that goofy name? Sounds like first grade. I said, I used to teach first grade, probably it's first grade language. But this is all the questions that you may want to ask. You may not use the form, but use some things. Begin to do more to prepare your buyers than you've been doing. Maybe it's time to prepare the buyers better. Maybe it's time. Just click on the link below. I'd look forward to speaking with you.